I kind of actually I'm gonna give this a few seconds to. I'm gonna take a few seconds to start this back up, but took a break just because I saw that there was an update that I never really installed, and I totally fell asleep early yesterday. I zoned out actually, zoned out. I totally forgot that the update was happening after like realizing it. I knew I had like 2 3 hours until like the update hits in the market and whatnot, and I just like completely zoned out. I should have probably changed my device clock to UTC and gone and used the VPN to completely like hide my location and whatnot. But and then downloaded the update, but I didn't even think about it. Totally didn't think about it till right now. Sorry, it would have been an epic idea. Um, so So regardless, whatever. All right. So one thing though. I was flipping through the channels, and I recommend no one ever watch world events. Actually even it's not so much right. I don't even know why I said it how I said it. See, I just said it the wrong way. Just used the wrong script. Now I'm so out of. I'm at such a heavy heinous loss that it probably won't even get through properly. Let me switch this up to squad real quick and get everything set up so I can start this next match. But the reason I was saying, or made that basic. Actually, you know what? Let me say it how I wanted to say it. I was flipping through the channels, and then I remembered that there was a world event happening, and then I remembered all the reasons I don't watch world events. As I stated, we're in a one of those sorry, the thought just came to mind. It came to mind and it made me laugh. It was the dog eat dog world is what it made me think of, is what they like tried running through me, and I'm like, no, no, no. So I mean that's like how they try to put it, but no, 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 and no is what it basically transitions to. No, every single time they try to run it, and then no yet again to make sure that they don't run it again, and then no just to like whatever clarify the point. But or actually you don't run that no yet. That third no isn't for like a few months, whatever. But um, or for a while. But it's a no again or something of the sort. Whatever. Either way. But so the reason I don't like condone world events, such as like popular athletic events that include running, swimming, sledding, at the quote unquote what's that considered? Drug induced, hypocritical, stifled society uh, section, because they're all pumping drugs into their systems one way or another, and they're just lying about it. They just add it to their like food and whatnot, but that's basically all they're doing and claiming other, and it's just filtered through the system sometimes. But that's one of the basic ways that they started doing it, to get low amounts and whatnot because it carries it in. It's just basic trace amounts that don't get picked up. Because of how they're being flushed, I think, is the primary reason. But if you really think about it, world sports wise, it's so easy to flush and pump a system prior to anything. But either way, so here's the main reason I don't watch world sports though. I seriously just got stuck watching TV. I have it on. I have the captions turned on, so it completely ruins everything. It totally makes it even worse. I just had it as like background noise at first, and then I remembered I'm on stream, so I can't have it as background noise. So I used it as like a backdrop, I guess, for me to like keep myself attentive. But yeah, it just kind of backfired after I turned on the captions. after the Before the captions, it was epic, and then after the captions, it's just like I'm stuck watching TV and reading the whole time, and it looks so prime though. I think is why the actual captions I picked aren't like your typical boxed in captions, and they're actually like nice and solidly round opposed to like square, blocky, and ugly. So it's kind of cool. So it makes it easier, and it moves throughout the screen like in certain segments. So I don't know, whatever. Either way, so back to the point. World events and whatnot. The reason I don't condone them is because they're pre-recorded and pre-scripted. So whenever you finally break free and actually make it to these events, when you should make it to these events, if you still don't condone the actions that they partake in front of you and at the stadiums and on camera that you yourself can't really attest to and whatnot, then you're not going to get the same experience that you expected. And that's just that. So, I mean, I'm just pointing it out, and that's just as easy as it is. But it's all pre scripted and pre recorded. Reason I say it is because it's like lucid dream states. In one dream state, all the chicks are naked roaming around. And in another one, they're not. So by the time they record it and script it as to how they won when they were naked, it's scripted, play by play. That's why it looks so like recorded, and the only thing you ever see that's not scripted in like volleyball are the spikes. But those are scripted because the only thing that's not scripted is the speed and the accuracy. But I mean, that's like 90% scripted to hit that segment, and that's that. That's why it's such an easy little toss up to lay up. They have it scripted to 3 solid moves. You bump it and then you set it and then spike for that reason. Because it's all scripted because the girls are all naked for some of these people that watch these world events. It's the same thing with every other sport. I don't care what they tell you. I don't care what they sell you. This is why I get censored so often. This is why I get closed from 90% of the market, because I don't keep my mouth shut and I just keep going, and I just don't care for it. But this is exactly why I'm saying it. If you're not aware of this, you get digressed, held back. It's worse than just being held back in like a school or in like a traffic sense. Even in a drastic in something that doesn't seem that drastic in traffic, someone cutting you off, but in reality it becomes something heinous. So I mean, that's my point. That's kind of like why people usually try to run people off the road, and they're like, oh, whatever, insurance is going to cover it, because I'll knock you out way before I like ever have to even deal with like any of it. But that's just like what it is. You know, I'll just like run you off the road, and hopefully by the time I have to deal with you, your legs are broken, and I just don't have to deal with it. But that's just legitimately what people do in the state of California. But I mean, that's my point, though. I mean, and that's actually how it goes throughout the world. They even do it in Germany. Like, that's why they have the Autobahn. If you don't know how to drive on freeways, you're technically not even supposed to be on the freeway. If you don't know how to just, like, hit the gas at the right point or whatnot, or just had to, had to change lanes, but whatever. No, I'm alright. That sounded gross first off, so I legitimately said no because it sounded gross. That's heinous. So either way, but yeah, so it's scripted after a point. So I mean, that's why like the more challenging the sport is to script, the more the people get paid. So like for example, the least paid athletes are always the sports that are easier to script. So I mean, I don't care what they say, but it's legitimately what it is. So I mean, that's just how it goes because it's all scripted. Both teams are being paid. Think of wrestling. The reason wrestlers don't get paid that much, but they get paid a lot of money, is because it's all pre-scripted, pre-set up for you to like try to catch up to the show, but in reality, they're just slowing you down and dumbing you down, opposed to dumbing down the way that you learn something. They're making you dumber instead, while making you think that you're gonna learn the simpler method, that which is considered like the dummy down type method. So it's just I mean, it's just life. It's not even possible to really like get into like a good point of like explaining this. But sorry, I'm gonna start up these matches. I have to get 1 or 2 matches done real quick, and then I have to get something done. And then I have to, well, I mean, yeah, I have to get quite a few things done here. And hopefully get up and out to get this download later on today. Sorry, what I was just watching just ended. And since my hotspot's out of out of data and it runs on a completely different setup now, since they just randomly love restricting me. Like I said, it's an inter-network setup, so I mean, your networks might not be the same thing as my networks, but in my network, or the network that they had me set up to, they had me restricted for being so epic and against them that they just like are just like complete garbage towards me. They get mad, but I mean, like, it's legitimately what happens. I might shoot for the villa, but I'm not too sure if I'll make it with the way I'm trying to do this right now. As I stated, these are all dream states that people had to pay to get me into. As I stated, is what it is, because I don't like deal with this type of stuff. I'm technically like the last lawyer alive. I'm technically the only lawyer alive or allowed. So I mean, it's just what happens. Hi. So I mean, like, you can see why this like whole issue like happened and whatnot. So I mean, that's why I present the information that I present, how I present it, in order for you to realize what issues happen, what issues occur, what speech impediments might happen after a while, why speech impediments happen, for you to analyze it yourself eventually, for you to realize what really happens, and for you to digress the information for yourself while realizing, regardless of what someone's telling you, it might always be a lie. So, I mean, it's not up for you to discern. It's for you to know the truth, opposed to discerning what might be. You either know or you don't know. So get out of my face. Or that's basically what it is. See, and I just missed her head. She lagged 1 or 2 frames as I hit her headshot. And then it just like, it lagged. So it was just enough lag for her to survive the damage, like catching up by the time she hit me, or he hit me with the next shot, because it was a guy controlling a chick. The only thing was, it was just that, it was a guy controlling a chick. So they tried playing off that, kind of like my guy's wearing the postal, gone postal type outfit. Oh, it's because I'm not wearing a helmet. When I'm not wearing a helmet, I'm slightly more anxious because I'm more likely to die, and it draws a lot more attention too. Because I mean, look at the face piece. Oh yeah, so I mean the employee that's gone postal. That's also why the outfit, and it looks like a bot. It looks like I'm a bot. So I mean, once I'm wearing a helmet, I don't look like a bot. I mean, when I'm wearing a helmet, I don't look like a bot. When I am wearing a helmet, or I mean, when I'm not wearing a helmet, I don't look like a bot. So they completely like somehow speed up their reaction time. Their reaction time isn't delayed, but I mean, it's like playing off the same thing. You either know it's a bot or you don't. You either know they're lying or you don't. You're either misrepresenting yourself or you're misrepresenting them. It's not about someone else. It's not about anything else. Because I mean, if you're misrepresenting yourself, that just means that you're going against what you're supposed to be. You're kind of going against what you're supposed to be going against. Because the laws that are set in place are not really set in place for anything other than no interpretation. Because any interpretation is illegal. Anything that they claim was due to them realizing something through the law is considered an interpretation. Regardless of what they claim nowadays, it's still an interpretation of the law. Therefore, it's a falsification of the actual statutes and limitation that it takes for a law to be put into place, let alone for a law to actually coexist with pre-existing laws and statutes and of limitations and things of that nature, because there's federal courts and state courts and whatnot, but state courts are illegal courts 90% of the time because they're just operated by someone that has money that's avoiding prosecution in a small city that they just went and polluted and perversely built, because it's only like $250 to build like 2 to 3 cities out in California in the middle of nowhere that eventually generate you a few $1,000,000, and let alone to furnish the buildings is like near impossible. No, I was just kind of, yeah, actually kind of not it's not really rambling. No, so no, I'm not rambling. So I mean, kind of like this, they set this up and staged it. They set these conversations up also prior, or like right before I like, or right after I meet like some kid that's like on my stream trying to converse with me. And I used to bring these kids into my, like I used to like let them join me for matches, but nowadays I don't think I will, just because it's the sole fact that they're just set up against me. Like they've run this like 2 to 3 times already. You guys can catch my previous streams. It's probably like 2 to 3 seasons ago. They ran it with like Potato Boy 4 at first, and then they tried running it with Tfue or something of that nature. It's people trying to display their like dominance over me, them trying to like display their families like dominance. But like these are all families and bloodlines that have plagiarized my work for so many years and claim to be me for so many years that I have to have a picture of myself like on a regular basis to figure out a way to like have my identity latch onto me the right way without all these lies and propaganda that the government also sets up and offsets in order to shut me down, because I'm such a boisterous person, or sorry, boisterous I'm such a boisterous person that I get in a lot of trouble, because I mean I'll leak out the government's best anti like I'll leak out the best that the government cannot get me in trouble for, so they get pissed. Like I'll seriously leak out everything in terms of government information, and they get so mad because it's all through legal terms and legal documents that they themselves end up having to shut down websites and having to set up so much propaganda themselves that they even had to set up people to within their company of propaganda, little trolls and criminals that they already had running, because they got in so much trouble that it's nothing but criminals trying to claim to be like people that I probably I don't mean, they're just lying basically. So I mean they're avoiding getting into trouble, but they basically had to learn how to code themselves because they got into that much, heat. But yeah, most of these trolls basically know coding by them on their own also nowadays because they have to. That I deal with. Whoops, sorry. I have someone right next to me. Nothing. Nothing you should really be concerned about. Okay, it was a bot. I was wondering why it made me so nervous. Oh, I'm sorry. When something like this happens, it kind of catches my attention. No! This guy got my head. Dang it. Another guy using a chick character. Bit of distraction regardless. Microseconds cut out of my reaction, let alone delays implemented. 2 to 3 seconds at a time. Not happening. See, and they all run stuff like that. The last kid I dealt with, oh, okay, never mind. It was Potato, and then they used that like kid that got annoying with his name and whatnot. But I mean, explaining that one is something I'd have to explain in court also. So I mean, I don't really get into too much detail on that one as to how the names pertain to stuff how the name pertains to information pertaining towards me. So that's just how that one runs. But yeah, I'm just kind of at a loss here. That was so heinous. My score, what's that called? My ranking is gonna drop so hard today, just because I'm in like a rush scenario. Not even a rush scenario, because I'm still trying to win. I just kind of wasn't paying attention. You know what? I have to find where that red newspaper stand is at. I don't know why I haven't found it here. I'll just wait to drop at the end. Gonna mute my mic. Hopefully no one minds.